Welcome, Kevin, to Metaladium Pages. It's a great pleasure to talk with you about Myrath, this new album, Karma, and obviously more things related to the metal world in general. So we started by asking, so how was the band during the last six years?
Basically, there is the COVID, which make it quite difficult for the band for a certain amount of time. We were touring 5 years ago in Europe, and the last gig just before the border closed because of COVID was in Leipzig, which is a little city in Germany. And as a French citizen, I could make it and come back to my tiny house, south of France. But unfortunately for the three Tunisian members of the band, the Tunisian government didn't bring any flight for them. So they were stuck in France, and they told me, Kevin, what should we do now? And I told them, come to my city, and we will try to figure out a solution. But unfortunately, we couldn't figure any solution for 6 months. So I needed to take all the band members with me in my tiny house for 6 months. So it has been quite difficult, but we took this opportunity to compose together because, many bands are composing together, but for Myrath, for the previous albums, everything was digital. I mean, as I'm based in France and the other guys are in Paris and Georgia and Tunis, the process of composing was, for example, me to write an idea to send through Gmail, and the band to give a try on the idea and to send another mail. So it's a very digital process and very boring process. But this COVID period gave us the possibility of being together in a single room. I mean, so every morning I was waking up and I had in front of me musicians. So it was 10 times easier to try new things and to try to compose together and to iterate on a lot of ideas to make it more organic process. So it was great because it changed a bit the way the process of composing. So it changed a bit also the music of the band. So if you compare Karma with the previous album, it's more organic with less arrangements. Because of course, when you are composing with musician in front of you, you don't tend to put a lot of layers of arrangement and this kind of stuff. And yeah, we started this way, and we took extra 1 year to finish the arrangement and to finish everything, because the process of composing within Myrath is a little bit long because the music is quite difficult to record. We have a lot of instrument to record, and we want to take the time to make it good, to make it properly. So we worked a lot on this album, and we spent a lot of time with Jens, with Jacob Hansen, to do the production with me, and also we could find ideas on how to make sound the band. So yeah, it took some time, but I'm quite happy with the result.
Well, interesting things to know. That's very, very interesting because also talking about now, especially for the last tour here in Latin America. So how was your experience to came here for the first time? You played in a lot of countries here, experience in general.
Um, it's one of my best experience in life. First of all, because the fans are insane. I mean, I didn't even knew it was possible to sing between the songs. I'm not telling you that they were not singing our songs. They were singing our songs, but between the songs, they were singing. So it was a concert of crowd. It was not a concert of mirrors. And I never thought this kind of stuff would be possible. So it was the atmosphere was at this maximum. So it was an awesome experience, but also one of the most difficult because the three Tunisian members need visas for Latin America. So we played 6 countries, 6 visas, and it's nightmare. I mean, I spend maybe 1 year to organize all the visas because it's a real pain in the ass. I mean, and unfortunately, we need to to cancel Chile because the Chilean government and validate our visa like 24 hours before coming. We don't want you in our country, so we couldn't make it. But beside this, yeah, the experience was awesome.
Okay, okay. Well, this is your Karma is your second album with Ear Music. So until now, how was the experience to work with this with this big label, Ear Music?
It makes a huge difference because before working with Ear Music, we did everything by our own. I mean, even if we wanted to contact some journalists in the world, we did it ourselves. And it's not scalable. I mean, we don't have any contact. And that's the aim of a record label, to push the band and to help the band to reach medias and to reach new people. And Ear Music is a kind of, yeah, a big company. They have a lot of contact, and it's really easy to work with them. I mean, every day I receive my schedule, for example, for the interviews, and I follow the schedules. Everything is great, well organized, and I know that they are helping the band a lot.
Nice, nice to hear. So I've been here. Well, we did a review for this last album, Karma, in our web. This is a great album. Congratulations on this new Karma. As you mentioned, one thing that I did note in this new Karma album is that it's more organic compared to the Shehili, because Shehili has like this. You mentioned you work remotely because you are in different parts of the world. But for this album, you gather together and rehearsal in the studio. That's a great thing. I think that is the biggest difference that exists compared to the previous one. But that's my appreciation as a reviewer, interviewer, for working on this kind of stuff. So for you, what kind of difference do you find in this Karma compared to your previous albums, Shehili?
It's quite simple. I mean, as I explained to you, the process is different. So when you have musician with you, composing with the musician, you don't put extra layers of arrangement. And what happened is when you come to the recording studio, you have maybe 20 tracks to record instead of 40, 50 or 60 tracks. And it allows the sound engineer to work a lot on all the depth of the sound. I mean, to provide more reverbs, delays, and this kind of stuff. And when your music is too dense, I mean, when there is too many layers in your music, it's really difficult to work on the reverb and delay because there is no room for this. And for this album, it was more a minimalist approach. So it gives us the opportunity to work more on all the reverb and delays. And reverb and delays are the most important stuff to work on because it gives the power to the music. So let's say that doing less is more because you give more opportunity to this kind of effects to make your music better.
Okay, interesting to know. One thing that I saw, and that is congratulations on the band, is that the band has the same lineup, almost the same lineup since the beginning, so 2006. That's a great thing because no huge bands, no a lot of bands stay with the same lineup since the beginning. And you are on the world, on the metal world in general, at least more than 20 years of existence since you create the band for the first time with name Stacy. Stacy and 2001. So how was the experience to work with the same people for more than 20 years? Do you have how in some point of your life do you decide to say I don't want to be this kind of anymore because I'm very tired of this? Because a lot of musicians say this has a family, have a band is like have a relationship, fights, a lot of things happen. So what kind of experience or anecdotes do you have for this more than 20 years existence with Myrath?
I think that it's exactly the same thing as being in a couple. for 20 years with your wife. I mean, if you try to imagine all the things you are going through with your wife compared to a band, it's exactly the same thing. I mean, sometimes there are fights, tensions, things you are not aligned. So you have two options. The first is to give up and to make the decision to replace the musician, or I don't know. And the second one is to try to learn more about what is the aim of each people in the band, because my aim is not the same as Marek or Anis or Zaire. And our goal, our role is to align a little bit the aim of everybody. And this role is to be done every day, because being in the band is constructing a relation every day. So of course, sometimes it's really difficult. I'm not saying that maybe in 40 years, maybe I will be dead. I don't know, but we will try to keep the same lineup, um, if it's possible. But as many, yeah, as many bands sometimes can't find this can find the path to keep the same lineup. We try our best effort to keep the same lineup, and for the moment it's working.
Okay, interesting to know. Other detail that for me is very, very the note, especially in your kind of music, is when you play progressive metal, but at the same time you mix with the pop, a little hip hop into the music, also also Middle Eastern folk, this kind of stuff. Who came up with the idea to mix pop, hip hop, rock metal, and obviously your influence from your country?
It's just a matter of influence. I mean, for my personal perspective, I'm fan of pop music and French music from the 80s. The band members are fan of metal music, classical music, and music from Tunisia. So when you love so many music, you want to try to blend it. So this is simple as this. It's matter of loving different kind of music and trying to blend it. And the way we are doing it is quite natural. I mean, we don't intellectualize anything. It's just coming from the heart, and that's it.
Hmm? Okay. Well, talking about that, especially from the well, especially yeah, now we are talking more about this new album Karma. Usually, when you compose an album, usually one song or two songs were the more difficult to create, or were more difficult to gather all things that you have in your brains at the time you create the song. So for this aspect, which songs for you was the most difficult or was the most challenging song to create in this Karma?
It was definitely Into the Light for many reasons. The first reason is that it's an orchestral song, so it took me weeks and weeks to compose all the parts of the violins, trumpets, choirs, timpanis, everything, all these layers. So it's taking a lot of time, and also because of the piano solo, which is we, which is really fast for me. And when I composed this piano solo, I told to myself that it would be impossible for me to play it live, and it took me maybe 2 or 3 months to make it um, possible to play it live. And it has been a real challenge for me when we tried to play this first song live last summer. So yeah, for me as a piano player and arranger, it was by far the most difficult song to do.
Okay, okay. So Uh, now, I saw that the other detail that I saw from this new album is perhaps the cover art for this new one, because I saw some people try to relate with the artificial intelligence, because it's very common thing now that our artists are using the artificial intelligence to reduce the budget to create music. So what's your first? is this cover art was created by the AI perhaps because has the elements for the AI for the first stuff? And also, what is your point of view about now this AI, especially in the art, are more so has the most impact because I see a lot of Facebook page publish or posts that say that we are against the AI, we need to support the artists, this kind of stuff. But some minor bands perhaps will and no bands has no the good budget or has a big budget to create to create the art with a big artist. So what's your opinion about now the AI in general?
So basically, for the cover of the album is not done by any AI. I mean, we worked with Bader Klidi, which is a famous artist in Tunisia, and he painted 10 years ago the cover of Tales of the Sand album. So we decided to work with him again, and this cover is fully painted by an artist. It doesn't. I'm not saying that I'm against intelligence artificial, because we used this for the video clip Heroes, which is done by intelligence artificial. And to be honest, I mean, I'm working a lot in intelligence artificial as a developer, because also, I'm not only a pianist, I'm also a technical developer in IT. So I'm building AI solution all day long, and it's fascinating. But I think artists should be afraid of it, because we are already it's already possible to build something that is faster and better than the human being. But AI can be also used to write songs. I mean, I tested a solution yesterday. The name is Suno. Suno allows you to compose with a prompt message, like, I want a song like Myrath or like Symphonics, with prog element, with folklore, with a little bit of pop music. I want the chorus to be in minor. I want the verse to be in minor. And within 5 minutes, your song is done. I mean, and this is something which can scare a lot of musicians.
Well, in general, yeah, you are right. In general, for all artists, but well, I prefer to say to scare. I prefer to use the word tool. Because some people doesn't have the same economy that the other artists has in the world. So the AI helps to create much faster music for them. That's a curious thing for the AI, no, in this case.
It's if it's only a tool, of course, it's a good tool. But the potential behind this tool is to replace the human being. So I mean, it's not the aim, but it can technically replace. So it will transform a tool into something that can create by its own. So that is this part which I'm scared of. Yeah.
Yes. Okay, well, returning to this new one, returning to the album. So your lyrics explore themes such as spirituality, search of truth for truth, and social justice in general. For the also, and most albums from Myrath has these kind of things. So, but a curious thing that for me catch it is the why do you decide to use the word karma and not the opposite of this word dharma? Because dharma is the good things that you do in your life for the future, but the karma is the consequence that you did previously in the past, and you have the results for the life.
Yeah, and karma was if you listen to our lyrics, we are talking about racism, discrimination, climate change, failures, depression, and the word karma, I think, fit the best, because I mean, I'm not into politics, but for example, the revolution in Tunisia several years ago, when we speak about karma, we talk to the government. I mean, it's the karma, it's the decision you took that lead to a revolution, and that's why we use this word karma. And we will continue to speak about discrimination and people which are suffering because somehow the three Tunisian members of the band faced a lot of issues by the past and are still facing issues. I mean, when today it's not possible for a regular band to play Latino America because you are not born in the right country. It's a problem. I mean, so
Okay. Well, and for me, and perhaps as a fan of the book, as a fan of the concepts in general in the world, so perhaps in the future you will create for me, this Myrath has like the conceptual things into the whole concept, into the lyrics. If I try to relate this aspect, perhaps in this with this perhaps the Myrath will create a second album with Karma 2, or perhaps the opposite, Dharma, perhaps.
I don't know because I mean, generally, it take a long time to create an album, and generally, I focus on music first because we create lyrics on top of music. So I know that for the moment, my brain is 100% focused on music, and when the songs will be finished, we will think about the lyrics and the theme of the album, and I don't know, maybe something will happen. I have no idea.
Okay, okay. Well, talking about one thing that you said, well, you tried to express this situation of discrimination, this kind of aspect in your lyrics, and well, I'm a metalhead since since the 80s, so I have 40 years old, and I remember when the metal appears in 70s. I read a lot of magazines at that time, so this kind of aspects, and I remember the metal at that time again fight against something, because you mentioned now you've tried to fight with discrimination, to fight with this well, the racism, this kind of a stuff. But the metal, when I remember, I especially remember one interview from Bruce Dickinson when he created the lyrics from the Number of the Beast, and he said that I create that lyrics just to piece of something, someone, and that's the truth. That some piece of someone at that time, and many people angry because a lot of people tried the Iron Maiden was a satanist band. A lot of things happened at that time. Now also obviously the progressive, the thrash metal, the death metal tries to include this kind of piece of someone. So but since 2000, yeah, and thank you for the social media, thanks for the social media, the to fight against something is not anymore the consequence of the metal. It's not the main object to fight against, because the metal lose that this kind of essence to fight against something. Politics, religion, economic, I don't know, socialism. The metal was until the 90s was the essence that time. Now you have trends. If you how you can see on YouTube a lot of influencers that said that how do you paint your corpse paint like a black metal in the 90s, in 2000s, etc. You can write about you write about Satanism. Now there is a church, a church Satanism church. So all things are more well accepted in the world, especially the metal. You can walk on the street with a bicycle street with cannibal corpse with a lot of blood in your t-shirt, and the people understand that you are a metalhead. Not like the 90s when you walk on the street when I don't know, when blood or crosses in your street in two shirt, and the people shock up at that time. But now it's very different. So now, what's your point of view about the metal lose this kind of essence to fight against something? We don't have any more to fight against something because all the metal is now accepted. Lyrics, music, art concepts, etc.
Yeah, I mean, it's very interesting because you are telling me that you can have a shirt of cannibal corpse in the streets and everything is okay. But it's not true. I mean, try this in Tunisia.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a different country.
Try this. You will be a Satanist. And I mean, we fight. To be honest, if I were playing jazz, it would be the same thing because we didn't choose metal to fight against something. We have to fight against something, and we like metal. So, and this is the philosophy that may answer to your question.
Okay, okay, thanks. Oh well, and thanks for this answer because the next question goes goes to that. I read a lot of I read a lot of history, a lot of culture, obviously for the Middle Eastern folk. So how do you see now the metal in a even in the Middle Eastern in Arabic areas, this kind of stuff? Because this area in the world has different approach to the world. It's not like the Europe in general or like US or like South America. It has a different approach. Oh, talking about well, this kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's a little bit better, and I can prove you that it's a little bit better because we officially headline for the World Cup, football World Cup in Qatar. So if it was not open, we wouldn't be able to do this kind of stuff. But 15 years ago, I remember Anis, the best player, calling me, Kev, I need to cut my hair because it's too stressful and I'm getting intimidated by a lot of people. What should I do? Uh, should I cut my hair? And he told me this 15 years ago, and he was threatened. So it was not okay at all. But nowadays, I mean, yeah, to give you a sense of the evolution on, for example, 7 million Tunisians. 15 years ago, 7 million would think that you are Satanist and you need to die. Today, maybe half of the population. So it's much better because it's 50% more, which are
Yeah.
open-minded, and it is yeah, it's an evolution, and I think that metal music would be, um, let's say, a normal music within 10 years, maybe.
Okay, okay. Well, interesting answer. Very, very interesting answer. So for the one, well, returning to the album, and obviously, we are very close to in this interview, Kevin. Um, what kind of plans do you have for this Karma? Perhaps you will the future plans in general. Perhaps you will do videos. Perhaps you will embark in tours in Europe, Asia, again Latin America or US. Who knows? What kind of plans? What kind of plans do you have for this Karma? Because until I know, Myrath is in a special place where it's one of the well-known bands are talking about from Europe, especially in the progressive metal.
Yeah, the first plan is to focus on the summer festivals. We have summer festivals in Europe to play, and we are actually organizing a tour in Europe. So, of course, Latin America is part of the plan. I can't give you a date right now, but it will be soon, I guess. So, yeah, for me, between we are in March, I think. Yeah, between March and June, I will focus on the composing of the new album because we need to be faster on the release of the albums in general within Myrath. So my first goal is to compose the new album, and I will try my best between now and June. Starting from June, summer festivals, September, tour in Europe, and after we will put all the pieces together to make it possible to the US and Latin America. We need to tour also in Japan because of COVID. Our tour has been cancelled, and we need to rebook it. And I know it's on the pipe of the record label there. So yes, that's it.
Okay, okay. Well, one of the last questions for this interview, Kevin, is that well, as you can see, the metal since the well, since in the 90s especially grow up very fast with new styles, with new mixtures around the world, etc., etc. And usually the old musicians, or perhaps the musicians that has in in the metal scene have more than 20 years, more than 30 years, etc., etc. So just to stick with the old bands and not hear the new bands that coming each day, each month, each Friday, each weekend. We have more than 50 release, more than 60 release. That's amazing. So for you, what's your opinion about now the metal scene in general?
I think it's cool to have many bands because that's the way you are doing innovation. The more bands you have, the more you have you can gather. I mean, when you are a little band and you want to start, you have a full stack of bands to listen, and that can provide ideas to make your proper music. So I think it's very good. Of course, I think nowadays it's more difficult to make it big because in the 70s, for example, in America, you had maybe 14 bands, metal bands maximum, and now it's 1,000 more. So of course, the business around metal music is quite difficult. I think it's difficult to be the first. I mean, the first take all, but it's in all the business. So from my perspective and Myrath, we will be able to live to earn enough money to live with our music. But I know that a lot of bands can't afford this kind of stuff, and I would say that now one of the things which is really important is the image. It was not the case before, but unfortunately, when people discover a new band, they discover the band through a picture, not the sound or the songs, which is it is a game. I'm not totally cool with this situation, but it's the way marketing is working. And which make it more difficult for bands that didn't acknowledge that working on the image is very important.
Okay. Well, Kevin, thanks for this interview. It was a really pleasure to talk with you. I hope you enjoyed this one like me.
Yep.
This new album is a great one. We did a review. We put a 9/10, so it's a great album for a web. So perhaps, and obviously, perhaps do you want to add something to your Latin American fans that experience your return soon, and obviously Metalerium followers.
Yeah, I will specifically speak to the metalheads from Latin America, because once again, the tour we did was one of the best experience of my life, and not only my life. I mean, from all the band members of Myrath, 100% sure. So one of our goal is to make it again as soon as possible, and they can be sure that we will do everything possible to come back, yeah, as soon as possible, maybe next year, but let's see.